hang on a second. So you're telling me that there's some mysterious shit going on around here, and then we can profit off of it? All right, hell yeah. All right, let's go. What are we looking for here? I think I see something right there. Yeah. No. Nope. 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 Nope.
Yeah, nah. Run!
Yes, for today's film we have Nope. So in case you don't know, Nope is the newest film by a wonderful, newly-ish emerged horror daddy,
Mr. Jordan Peele here, yeah.
In case you guys and gals at home didn't know, Jordan Peele, the co-star of, as you most likely would know him from, the Key and Peele sketch comedy show. Basically a sketch comedy variety show he did with his partner. And I mean, they were always hilarious. They were really good. They still hold up. I'm pretty sure they stopped making them a while ago. But in any case, Jordan Peele is actually a very big admirer of cinema and horror, which is how we got his filmography, which I guess we're just diving right into right now, when he came onto the scene with Get Out. Get Out being a film that everybody kind of agrees is like just about perfect. It's a fantastic film, has a lot to say about race and race relations in society, but at the same time it's still a really good psychological horror film with Daniel Kaluuya knocking it out of the fucking park. Then some years after that we had Us, which was an even more cryptic horror film. It ended up being kind of like a horror slasher, twisty, turny, some interesting sci-fi concepts to it as well. I still enjoyed it. Not as good as Get Out, and it wasn't as well received as Get Out, but you know, that happened. But now, here we are in 2022, and we have his newest film, which again, when the first poster's released, we were all like, huh? What's that? What's going on? And the first trailer hit, and we're like, oh, this looks interesting. That's what I thought anyway. And now, second trailer hit, and I was like, I think you showed your hand a little bit too much, but I'm still down for the ride. And now we have Nope, which, by the way, I gotta say, I love every title he's made for a film. Get Out, Us, Nope. Just like, I don't know. It's creative, and in this case, with marketing, I think they nailed the marketing for this film. But based on the trailers, you think, okay, so there's some weird stuff going on at this, like, black-owned Hollywood horse trainer ranch of sorts, and they're like, oh, maybe we can get a shot of this. Maybe if we capture the strange going-ons, we can profit from it. But of course, where profit is attempted to be made over the ghastly spectacles and horrors that there will be, you know, consequences from that. And then we have this film. So starting from the top, I do want to give a shout out to the cast, which I really like. Again, we have, and I hope I'm saying it right, but Daniel Kaluuya. I always fuck up his name, but fantastic. First thing I ever saw him in was really that's what, the second or third episode of Black Mirror, 1 Million Merits or whatever the episode was called. Killer, and I think it's what helped propel him onto the scene. That's what helped us start to get him there. And then I think when Get Out hit, then he exploded in like more American audiences and got more national and then international coverage as well. He can always give varied and different performances, but how he plays his character in this one, I really like. Second to him, you have Keke Palmer. I'm sure if I saw her in some other stuff, I'd recognize her more. I feel like she's somebody that I should recognize like that, but it just wasn't clicking for me. But in the film, again, plays her character well. She's great, makes for a good heroine, you know, it plays well with Daniel Kaluuya's character, like plays off of it, plays with it. They're kind of, you know, in the film, they can be at odds, they can be working together. Either way you slice it, good job there. And the last one I want to give a shout out to, granted there's a full cast, like everybody does a bang up job in this film, but Steven Yeun, I'm biased. I love this man ever since his days in Walking Dead. I love to see what kind of roles that he always gets, you know. I saw some opinion pieces, small paragraphs by some of the people I follow on social media, and people are saying that in this movie, his character and his backstory is like the more intriguing and the one that's up for like metaphorical interpretation. I am tempted to agree. I really, really liked his character and his character's backstory, and I just wish there was more of it. So Nope, is it good? Because you're faced with two challenges, right? After I saw this movie with the friends that I saw it with, we ended up discussing it for the better part of an hour, just standing outside out of the theater. And you're faced with two challenges right off the bat. You are forced to compare it with his existing filmography. So then it becomes a gold, silver, and bronze medalist of which film did better than the other one, which was one more enjoyable. And then you have the other question of, as a film in general, how is it? When you compare it to his body of work, it's not his best film, which isn't saying that it's a bad film either. And I think in my head, because I've never been able to review one of his films on my channel before, I just haven't gotten around to doing that. But if I had to do like a 3-2-1, I might say number 3 would be Us, number 2 would be Nope, and number 1 would be Get Out. I think. I didn't love it, but I really liked it. I really like how this film is a merging of several different genres of horror. It isn't just one or the other. There's sci-fi horror, there's survival horror, there's some like Thulian horror, which I've learned more about over the last week than I have ever in my life. I like the idea of Thulian horror. A little bit of everything, and clearly some inspiration from some of the greats. People keep comparing Nope to Jaws, which I think is actually very apropos, to the point where Jordan Peele himself has made mention of it in interviews, stating Steven Spielberg as a direct source of inspiration and being like, that's the key to horror, which I agree. A lot of horror is leaving the imagination of what's going on up to your audience, right? Like, you don't always want to show your hand, but you want to put the fear of the what if of the audience, the viewer trying to figure it out and kind of put two and two together. And a lot of this film does that. I love a lot of the horror of this film. Well, there's a lot of horror shown on screen. A lot of the horror of this film is implied horror. A lot of it is you can kind of piece it together in your head, like, oh fuck, that's what's happening, oh my, like, and then you just go wild from there. You're like, what could it be, what does this mean, or how are they gonna, what are they gonna do? It was really great. It was a good time. I was gonna say it's the most creative film I've seen all year, but this film exists, so I can't say that yet about any other film. I gotta say Nope it's the second most creative film that I've seen so far this year. And it's just that I've seen, but I really enjoyed it. Great performances by the cast overall. Love cinematography. I love the choice of direction in the film. I love the visual aesthetic of what this film has become in terms of, you see the odd shit in the trailer and the odd scenes here and there, and you're like, how does this all tie together? And even as you're watching the film, you're like, how does this all tie together? And then it all comes together, and the rest of it you figure out, or you can put up to interpretation, because there's still questions I'm asking. That shoe, you know what I'm talking about? What was up with that fucking shoe? Just like, I don't know, but you know what? You bet the gears have been turning for over 48 hours thinking about it. I love how each of Jordan Peele's films, as they're going on, they're getting a bit more artistic. They're getting a bit more out there. The material is a bit more up as subjects up for debate and for discussion. Now, granted, with that comes the caveat, because I looked it up right after I wrote my review and cross-referenced it online. It's in terms of critically received, it's still fresh, but it's not the best received compared to his others. And audiences they're on the fence about it as well, which gives me cause for concern, but you can't always put perfection out there, right? I gotta admit, even as I went into this, I had the concern in the back of my head, like, I want to like this, but that was my fear. Like, fuck, am I going into this wanting to like it? It's gonna be like an inherent bias, right? Like, I'm gonna get out trying to come up with reasons as to why I like the film so much, but I think I'm okay, because I didn't love the film. It's good. I love the tension built in the first act. Second act is probably the strongest. Third act is where things, I don't want to say fall apart, but how things progress through the climax is a little bit weird and a little disjointed. And although I'm okay with how the movie ended, I would have liked there to be different aspects of that ending. If things happened differently, if there was more build up to aspects of the ending, certain character decisions would have made more sense. It was good, but it could have been a better ending to make it a fantastic film. I just think this was a really good film. I didn't think it was like fantastic, but it was good. It was so good. Like I said, I love the cinematography. There was some solid, like normally all jump scares are based on loud audio cues, but there were a couple scares in the film that weren't audio driven, and I was just like, oh, just like, and then, oh my God, it's been a minute since I felt like true fear or been very uncomfortable or felt like just fear in my heart in a movie. And there was one scene in particular that I was struck with fear. Like, oh my, I hadn't felt that in a minute. I was just like, oh, like the hair is turning white in Evil Dead or Mad Max or whatever. But like, there were a couple moments that were pretty creepy, pretty scary, and like realizations, moments in my head where I put something together and it hit me of the implications of the horror and the fear that I then felt. So I'm impressed. I'm pretty hard to shake to like get to squirm in a seat. So for a film to make me feel uncomfortable and make me feel fear again, that says something. And this film definitely did it at least a couple times. Granted, not everybody's gonna feel the same way because people are like, oh, movies they aren't scary to me. Like as long as you can objectively admit that, oh, this could be objectively frightening, then I think we're all good. But I don't want to ramble on too much. I would say Nope is definitely worth seeing in theaters. I think every single one of Jordan Peele's films has been theater worthy. This one being shot specifically for like IMAX cameras, like go see it on the biggest screen you can. Cinematically speaking, both with the audio that IMAX provides and the video and sound, it's kind of like Dune, right? Like for the experience alone, seeing Dune in IMAX is worth it. Similar to Nope. Even if you don't necessarily really enjoy the film, I think at the very least it's enjoyable, and seeing it in IMAX is a good, worthwhile format to see it in. I would be willing to see it again in the right circumstances. Overall, the pros, it's very well acted. I love Daniel Kaluuya's portrayal of fear in this, because everybody has a fight or flight, and you can always read it in his eyes, even if his body doesn't show the rest of it, but like the eyes, just I'm gonna get lost in that. But acting is great, cinematography is great, the direction, more or less, like, I can almost fully get on board with it. I love the direction of most of it, but like I said, that third act could have used some work, maybe some rewriting, some polishing, something different. I appreciate the angle that Jordan went for, but I'm not 100% on board with it. My music, sure, some songs were used appropriately. The visuals were really striking, very striking visuals, very unique character design, settings, narratively what happens. I love the cold open. There's almost like 2 cold opens back to back, 3 if you count the preview for Oppenheimer. The only cons I would have to say is that I didn't feel that all the way from start to finish it was like perfection. It's not. There are definitely, the more you look and the more you dig, while comparing it to both his previous works and other films of its nature, it's still really good. But there are flaws, there's potential plot holes. If you dig enough, you start asking some questions, you start wondering, oh, well, was that character moment really deserved? Could that have been done differently? Could it have been done better? A lot of questions start coming up. While this film has few flaws of that nature, those flaws are big enough to bring it down a little bit. Not to say that I never stopped enjoying the film. While my enjoyment is up there for sure, I gotta admit, as a film itself, like, it's still really good, but there's some room for improvement. Long and the short of it, I would give Nope, Jordan Peele's third film released in 2022, I give it like a low 4 out of 5, honestly, a low 4 out of 5. It is definitely well above average, but we're not quite on the precipice of perfection just yet, It's worth your time. If you don't like horror, then sure, stay away from it. I know some of you out there would, blush at the thought of a jump scare in itself, so I get that. If you like Jordan Peele's previous works, I believe you will enjoy this. If you like creative films that blend different genres into one, paying homage to previous directors while also still making a striking piece of art and film themselves, then yeah, I would say definitely go for it. It's worth the price of admission in theaters, worth it to see it in IMAX. Will it make the top 10 for the year? That is to still be decided, but I think Nope is really good. But thank you guys and gals so much for watching as always, and yeah, stay tuned for the next movie review that I do. And goodbye, travelers. Keep the hood up. Just don't look, and just try to get a picture, but just don't look. Start snapping away, and I'll see. Good luck.